Sometimes I wonder what things might have been like had I gotten into astronomy and science professionally. Now, while that is not the way things went, I find myself excited by the fact that there are multiple paths one can still take when in a position like mine. In fact, this channel is one of those avenues, but it is not the one I'm here to talk about today. This is Cup of Science Joe, and I'm here to talk about the importance of amateur astronomy. Now, you might be wondering, with so many professionals out there, why would there be a need for amateur astronomers? Well, allow me to break it down a bit for you. There are a lot of stars in our universe. Some 300 sextillion. That is a 3 with 23 zeros. Even with the 7 billion people on Earth, if every single person was participating in astronomy, it would leave 40 trillion stars per person. Basically, there are far more stars out there than we can ever study, especially if you narrow us down to only professional astronomers. Beyond that, we have even more objects out there than just stars, such as planets, nebula, quasars, and black holes. Even if we don't have access to the tools for making some of the observations, we do have access to a lot of data gathered by organizations like NASA that simply have yet to be pored over. And for a start here, let's go over a few examples of where this happened. In the discovery of exoplanets. In 2017, thousands of amateur astronomers and citizen scientists got to work on data gathered by the Kepler telescope. In the processing of this data, at least 5 exoplanets were discovered, all of them being in the same system. And the program where this was conducted lasted for about 3 days, and the discovery itself was made on the final night. That makes for a great story, I would say. We also have SOHO, which is the Solar and Heliosphere Observatory. This has been helping us keep an eye on the sun from space, and it is the longest-lived heliophysics mission. It has provided nearly a continuous record of solar phenomena over a full magnetic cycle. But SOHO has another claim to fame, and that is one that drew on the help of amateur astronomers. This claim to fame is that it has become the single greatest comet finder of all time. Since it launched on December 2nd, 1995, SOHO has more than doubled the number of comets for which orbits have been determined over the last 300 years or so. Now, it is not SOHO itself that discovers these comets. It is all of the amateur astronomer volunteers who spend so much time each day poring over the fuzzy lights dancing across the pictures that are produced by SOHO's cameras. As of late 2017, more than 3,400 comets have been found by SOHO. Most of these by amateurs accessing the data made available to them real time via the internet. And it's cool that we have access and the ability to view and pore over professional data, but that is not the only outlet I would like to share some examples from. In fact, cool things can be done even from someone's very own backyard using something known as astrophotography. As it sounds, astrophotography basically is using a camera of some kind paired with a backyard telescope and a tracking mount to take continuous pictures and exposures of a certain patch in sky. When you take all of these pictures and add them up in software, you can really start to make some cool looking pictures and also even some brand new discoveries. The first one here I'd like to go over is the Soap Bubble Nebula. Now, this planetary nebula went unnoticed for many years, until 2008, that is. This discovery was made by Dave Jurasevich, who, while imaging the sky using his telescope, randomly came across this small and faint object. After months of tireless efforts to make the discovery official, it was eventually given the designation of JU1. The process of this involved looking over every piece of known text, list of photos and forums taken by professionals and amateurs alike, in order to try and ensure that the bubble was not previously discovered. And we're going to touch on the giant Squid Nebula. Now, this discovery was made by Nicholas Oders, and it is known as OU4. I believe this is actually his fourth discovery, which is where the 4 comes from. And when he was planning on imaging the Flying Bat Nebula, while also trying out his new Oxygen 3 Astrodon filter for the first time, putting these together, he did some 30-minute exposures over several nights, and he came to a realization that a large nebulous cloud was presenting itself and becoming visible on this filter only. And that was the discovery of the giant Squid Nebula. Now, while these surely are not all of the examples out there, they help detail that there are many ways amateurs like us can make contributions. So, my takeaway for you all today is that if you have this interest in science or astronomy, find a way near you to get into it. Be that through something I do, such as volunteering to work at an observatory, joining a astronomical society in your area, or making discoveries by something as enjoyable as backyard astrophotography, getting your foot even more in by accessing and processing professional data by organizations like NASA. All of these are ways that regular old people like us can get into astronomy. And I mean, I'd say even science at large. And you know what? Who knows? For some, it may even lead into becoming their profession. I hope you've enjoyed this today, and I implore you to step outside tonight and look towards the stars.